Hi, it's Teresa with Crafty with Teresa. Thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today we're actually going to be doing several different types of techniques. You will see some ink blending. You'll see some, I'm going to call it a copycat. We're going to use something for inspiration, and we'll take that and we'll enhance on it. We'll use some embossing techniques. We'll do beginner type cards. And then along the way, we're also going to be adding in a little more stepped up versions. But most of these designs will be using what you have in your stash. So enough of my chatting, let's get to crafting. First, I'd like to apologize. I know I mentioned that this video would be coming out sooner, but I ended up having to go out of town for a couple weeks because I had some family members that were ill and I needed to be able to be there for those family members. So I am a little bit late. Thank you so much for those that have stuck with me and are coming back to visit me. Let's take a look first at how are we going to recreate this inspirational piece. I'm going to actually use a mask. You don't have to. You could just extend that ink, but I'm going to do that because it's faster and easier for me. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tape the mask down. And this mask, by the way, is just created with paper, copy paper. So I'll tape that mask down. And then I'm going to take the ink pad, which is Blueberry Bushel from Stampin' Up. And I'm actually going to take that pad, ink it up with a blending brush. I believe I've already said this, but if not, all the information will be linked in the description box below for ordering if you'd like to order some. So I'm going to take that large blending brush and I'm just going to start really heavy on the outside edges, and then we're going to lighten it up as we go towards the middle. Now, I end up changing my mind throughout this video, so hopefully you understand and you can tell what I'm trying to do here, but I'm basically recreating that initial design that I showed you here in the beginning. Because these cards will be fast and easy. If you don't have that ink, you're going to see I get inky fingers throughout this. So just use an ink spot. So I am just basically continuing to blend until I get the color that I like. Now, I do have some points in my mask. I'm not a crazy fan of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to kind of lighten those up, but then I change my mind again and I decide to just go with it. So you're going to see what this looks like here in a few minutes, but I was just struggling back and forth on how I was going to do this. And it's just a process with me sometimes. I'm an overthinker. So one of the things that you see here is I have that ink blending going on really dark around the edges. And then I realize, oh, wait, I have that gold piece of paper that I want to add on there. This gold, by the way, was in my stash. It's from my green and gold kit. I used it to make some beautiful layouts. And so these were just items that were left over. And so I'll take that gold strip. And if you remember in the initial design, it shows you that's kind of a torn look. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take that and we're going to tear it a little bit to kind of recreate that design. Now, if you've been watching me, I am not someone who likes to measure when I'm in my design mode. I basically just want to kind of put it down. And then I'll turn around and write out the dimensions and the measurements for anyone who's interested. So one thing I also decided to do here is I grabbed some of my liquid ink and I'm going to actually put it down on that multi-purpose mat over there on the side. I'll put it on my block first, kind of take that $2 sponge that I got from Dollar General that I cut up, and I'll just take that and kind of look for some inking ideas here. I do get a little darker than I normally like, which is why I went with the whole changing of the plan, but I do like it. I really like having some of that dark in there. And so I'm darkening it around the edges a little bit to kind of add some layers and some texture here. Now I'll move my mask around until I can get those layered and textured items put in there like I want them. And I also feel like that softens it a little bit when you add a little bit of ink and different variations of the ink. And again, we're using the same ink. We're not changing ink at all. So this is a very cost-effective way to create this design, and it's fast. I know my videos are a little bit longer sometimes because I do more than one method, but literally this took less than 10 minutes. I did have to let it sit and dry for a few minutes because you're going to see I need lots of cleanup time with my inky fingers here. So one of the other things that I'm going to do here in just a minute, I'm going to show you how you can take advantage of that liquid ink and create some more designs. Once I do that, what I'll do, I've done this in videos in the past, is I will glue that down, and then you'll see I do that several times. I get quite a few cards out of that one strip of gold because it's just a little bit, a tad, a small bit that you actually use on the bottom there. And I just love these elegant cards that you can make at the last minute in 10 minutes or less. Now, when I add gold, because of the fact that I'm using glue here, I will add that to the very bottom, and I will be very, very careful because it does tend, and I tend to get heavy when I add glue. So I don't want it to smudge on the outside edge. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, I don't want it to actually stick and look that way on my outside edge. Because these are elegant, I don't want that look. So I'll add it to the very bottom and carefully add that to the bottom. If I have to, I'll make this strip larger and then just trim off the sides and the edge so that I don't have to worry about that glue. I hope this makes sense. Take a look. Now, unfortunately, my video did not tape here, but the other cards that I'm going to be showing you here today, I actually took that ink that was on that mat and I created more looks using that ink so that I was not wasting that ink. So I just basically laid it on the top and pulled that ink off of it. And then I added the blending for more texture, and I actually added just some sponge dabs also. These won't be exactly like the other cards, but they're going to be variations that will kind of make you think in the same way. Now here I just went ahead and cut off those sides and trimmed those off. Now, as I'm looking at this, I decided let's just kind of reverse that look. I will take the strip of paper, which is, by the way, 5.5. I'll cut it at 4.25. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear it. And the reason for that is it's still going to create the same look as the other ones. It'll just be a little different. Now I'll add that to a card. And then we'll add the gold strips on the bottom. And since you've already seen that, I'll speed through that real quick. Next, I'm going to look for more texture. And so I decided let's do some dry embossing. Some of these textures in this particular stamp set It looks like a tornado. It looks like spots. It looks like, I don't know, dirt, kind of sandy stuff looking, flying through the air. But I'm going to take the lined pieces, and you're going to see that I'm going to take this stamp set and I'm going to repurpose it and use it in a completely different way. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll add it to a block, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually lightly ink it on the back side of a sample copy and take the dry embossing stylus and flip it over, and on the back side I'm going to kind of trace those lines. What I'm looking for is kind of a snow fallen look, because I do have some little cute little snowflakes in one of my stamp sets. Again, information will be in the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and draw those down as if they're icicles or snow, like a rain falling snow look, if that makes any sense. Now I wanted to enhance that just a little bit, so I'm going to take my blending brush and I'm actually going to go around the outside edge and actually make that a little light blue so that you can see that dry embossing look. Next, I'll grab the snowflakes and I'll kind of stamp them kind of in line with those lines, and I think it turned out great. Now I have a lot of sentiments on hand, so I'm going to grab a sentiment that I currently have on hand. Oh, and by the way, there are sentiments that you can get from Stampin' Up! That are already cut out and already done for you. I ended up on one of these using those because I had those on hand. Now, next I'll grab my trees. I've done this in a video before where I kind of show you the different layers, adding more texture once again, and I'm going to take the trees and I'm going to start stamping on this hilly blue hilly look. I'm going to actually start backwards. I'm going to do the third generation first because I want that tree to be the furthest looking away. Then I'm going to do my first generation because I want that to be the focus on what you see. It'll be full strength. Then I'll do a second generation so that it just kind of gives you that varying looks of trees out in a forest somewhere. Next, I'll add the Merry Christmas, and that card is done. Then on this stepped up card, here's the actual card that I finished for you. I did want to show you that. I did also want to tell you that Stampin' Up! Has these cards still available. They have the blue at the bottom, the green at the bottom, and the red. I've already finished the reds, and you're going to get to see those here today because those are some of the other techniques that I've done on these cards, and I'm going to show those to you and give you an idea of what techniques I was able to get done for you. The first one is the dry embossing technique that I showed you. The second card I used a heat embossing technique. The third card I used a heat embossing technique, and I used a decorative mask to emboss the tree. The fourth card, I did a tone on tone for you so that you could see just some variations of that. And then the last card that I'm going to show you here today, using the same starting point, is a embossing color using the color and clear embossing ink over the top of it. Now I am going to try to put together before the end of the year a technique video showing you these techniques, but for now you just get to see the beautiful cards. Hopefully, if you already have an opportunity, you can make these cards very, very quick. So I know this has been a longer than usual video. I want to thank you so much for joining me here today. I do appreciate those that were able to kind of watch my videos while I've been out of town for the last couple weeks with family. Thank you so much. I appreciate any and all of your support. All of you have been wonderful to me this year. It's been a great 2024, and I'm looking forward to 2025. So be on the lookout for upcoming videos that will be showing you some of those techniques, and then we'll get ready for 2025. So I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and until next time, have a great day.